since I am such a nice old man, I don't know. Look at this. Wow, I mean, this is really hand painted. Oh, that's right, Easter egg hunt. All along up here, this is the 6th day, and having to speak and in front of an audience is not that easy. It's not easy, people. It really isn't easy. All night long I'm there having anxiety. What am I going to say? What am I going to say? I have nothing to say. I am good. I'm good. I'm a good speaker. I'm a good speaker. I hope I am. And this wonderful arrangement is from Hetty. This is Hetty. And it's been it's a great help, because it's a teaching in itself. It's a real teaching in itself. I have tried many times to do arrangement with flowers. Nobody would buy my arrangements. Nobody. I mean, it's a real art. You got to have that inside. It's a teaching in itself. It's a teaching in itself. It is also the flowers, teaching in itself. People, the teachings, just by keeping the eyes open, you can go to so many shops and see the beauty. See the beauty. And always recognize the beauty. Recognize it, people. Acknowledge it. Acknowledge it. The goodness all of a sudden starts to show up more and more and more and more. Yeah. Being raised Roman Catholic, and I was an altar boy for 7, 8 years. And my mother was a devout Catholic, and she every Lent they had 7 children. One passed away. And the rest, every Lent for almost like 2 weeks straight, we had in the evening time for about 2 hours kneel in front of this statue in our home, and pray the rosary, And none of the kids, of course they're kids. We don't know what we're doing, but it's supposed to be something, and. But because of guilt and Catholics and religion and all that, my mother had more fear. Even her mind was a little touched. She was touched, and yet she could function in society, and she was really trying to do her best. She really tried to do her best. But it was fear, too much fear. Consumed her. And to her, people were out to get you. And that's how I was raised. And to get what you can get from people, that's how I was raised. And people are nasty, people are just rude, and you take advantage of them. when you can. That's how I was raised. And of course, all these things didn't, like any little kid, they don't mean much to you, but you acquire very carefully the philosophy of your parents to some degree. And when my own process started to agitate me from my complacency, there was something inside that was going against the crowd. That was going against what my mother had taught me. And I love my mother. I really love my mother. And naturally, I've seen ugliness just like everybody else has. I've been beaten up by the police. I've been beaten up by many other people. I've been in many fights. I've had a lot of fun. And, stole records from drugstores, record albums from stores. But never did anything real. So I was pretty lucky there. I even went to prison for 1 year for selling marijuana. I went to a federal prison, not state prison, real big time federal prison for 1 year, and that was something. Yeah, that was really something. I learned a great deal actually in prison, a great deal. It's a dangerous place. It's not a nice place to be. And getting out, and then a process kicking in, something in my heart, despite all the, because I felt cheated in life. I really felt I was cheated. And because actually the only reason I went to prison is because I would not bear witness against this person who really should have gone to prison. And because I would never tell on anybody, never, I would never go against witness unless it was a murder. But anything small, whatever, never. It's the way I am. My father taught me that. That there was no way I would go witness. And so the prosecutor said, somebody's got to go. Either you go or he goes. And so I go. And I never regretted that. Never. Because, I can sleep well at night. Very well at night. Very well at night. It's worth it. It's really worth it, people. It's worth it. Yeah. Most laws are crooked everywhere. In America, they're very crooked. Everywhere, they're really, it's because in the criminal world and all that world, it's crooked. They got to be crooked to play with the crookedness. It's just the way it is. And life is not fair. And that's the way it is. It's just, and something in me was telling me that despite all these terrible things that I felt where my life was cheated, something was telling me that it's not so. Something was telling me life is good. Life has to be nothing but good. And the only indications that I had were the few times that I had a good time. I had lots of good times and laughs like most people. But I watched so many people have good lives. I watch my grandma and my grandpa, and I've heard stories, and a lot of people have, problems too. And there was war. My father talked about war, but the way my father came out, he loved life coming out of the war, World War II. This man loves life. He's still alive. Still alive. That there has to be something in there, because the whole world, I found, was very suspicious of everybody else. And there's a lot of fear flying around. I had some near-death episodes, like most. And I found that how, no matter what age you are, youth does not make you immune to being killed or passed away. And if that is so, my God, do I want to leave like I found so many people under fear? Do I want to leave this world not liking the humanity that I came from, a species that I came from? Is that the case? Is that really going to be, is that how I'm going to leave? Or maybe there is some great secret that most of humanity does not know. And I went in search of it. And I searched very, very, very hard for it. It took a long time. It took a very, very long time. But somehow I figured, if I'm going to pass away, I'm going to pass away with as much good hope as possible, even if everybody is right, that people are bad, basically, and get what you can get, and take advantage when you can. I didn't want to go that way. I knew somehow. I remember with my friends, I grew up with some very good friends, and the one thing that they taught me was to laugh. And they taught me to laugh, because I grew up, it wasn't so nice. And it took a number of years before I could really laugh at myself. And they kept prodding me, to eventually I started to soften and laugh, and how it changed my whole perspective about myself, not to take myself so seriously. Because I had a lot of neuroses and a lot of complexes about being an Indian. It's not nice in America to be an Indian. It really isn't nice at all. It's a terrible life for many, many of us Indians. Any dark skin, it's not nice. Americans are not nice to dark-skinned people. Most are not. And if laughing can bring a softness and bring a different insight, and wonderful parties can bring out wonderful aspects of relationships, and if wonderful days can appear, and to have good luck every now and then, and to even feel a real love for your friends a real love and care. And sometimes for your mother, and sometimes for your father, because that wasn't so much. And yet, despite all the conflicts that went on, I figure, maybe my mother is wrong. And maybe my father, is partly wrong too. And maybe so much of humanity is just really too busy and wrong. If it can do this, and we don't hear the flowers grow, we don't hear them grow. Sometimes we can hear bees and hummingbirds coming to them and draws our attention to them. And sometimes we have a little time and space that we can see them. And it is really basically how funny it is that more women pay attention to them than men. And then one wonders, is it because that they're women? Or is it because they're more heartful? And you can always see that no matter how bad you may be of a person, how nasty you may be, how angry you may be, there's always another time that will come around where you can be very sweet and very kind. And I found that in myself too. And if there is such a thing as a forever, and it became very obvious that my life, even that it cannot go on, even though I wished it could. That I could want to inject this forever with this very slow drip. And that it was just that you really just misunderstood. You just really misunderstood. For the teachings that really don't really come about what the nature is from our parents. For we do have the senses and the ears to hear the flowers grow. We really do. As we can hear the flies and little mosquitoes and the hummingbirds. As we can sense someone coming or someone calling us on the phone. For to walk into that foreverness after this life, I did not want to. That life cannot be so cruel as that I have to wait. But somehow to attract, like be a beautiful flower, if I could turn myself into a beautiful flower, and whether it is a rose or a little iris, little tiny little flowers that they have up in the mountains, or even here in Switzerland, you have tiny, tiny little beautiful flowers. But if I could turn my ugly self, my ugly attitude, into a flower and put out a wonderful scent. Because the bees are all very busy too. And all the birds are all very, very busy too. That I could draw a bee or a hummingbird or something to come, to pass something into me, a little exchange. A pollen from my heart, a pollen of a prayer, you could say. And you can come give me a blessing or a teaching or whatever it is, but to help me. So very, very quietly, I found myself growing actually a flower. A flower doesn't turn into a rage. It's very constant, very steady, does its job, and it leaves. And as it is with a good friend, and as it is with getting help from above, for it is easier to attract a bee to be an open flower than to be a closed flower. I realize we all just basically misunderstand, and most of it just we keep our hearts closed, and no one comes around. No one can come in to love us, to call us. No one comes around to want to be friends to us because the flower's closed. And there is such a thing as time and space, and it takes timing too. Because not all flowers can draw bees, and not all flowers can draw hummingbirds. So sometimes you could say it's almost a matter of fate, or call it luck, or whatever you want to call it, or destiny, or it's your karma, or whatever. And if no bee comes to me, if no hummingbird comes to me, so be it. At least my heart is open. But I know, because the days do go by and the sun rises and there's sunsets. And if there's one sun up in the sky, there has to be more than just one. There has to be many. And if there's one world in this universe, there has to be more than just one. There has to be many. For the Hottentots are correct. It is many, many, many. And if there's one life, that means there has to be many too. So if I can get myself, my heart open, my flower open, and yet somehow I found myself opening up in a desert where there are no bees and no birds to come, so be it. At least I have the sun telling me there's a future. If there's one day, there will be a next. And if there's a next, there will be many. And never to give that up. Never. But the heart is really nothing more, and it's really very, very simple as the flowers. That only people who really have a more heartful intention can recognize and respect. Very delicate, very soft. And the pollen is so, so precious. Very, very soft, very soft. And no matter how hard of a man you meet, all men really love tenderness and softness. For most men are just live under fear of survival. Touch when you can, love when you can, and water your roots, water your life with as much laughter as you can. Don't take yourself so seriously. And let yourself bend like the wind bends these flowers when it does come up in the storms. Don't let yourself be fearful of storms at all, even though the rain is harsh or people are harsh, even though they will step on you and kick you about. No one can destroy the seed of your soul. No incident, no bullet, no missile, no time, no hurt and no disappointment. For as the sun the biggest guide that we really do have, the biggest reference point that humanity really has, is that life will never stop. It keeps moving from east to west. And as the sun goes away and the moon shows its face, with the light of an inner mind, with the light of a depth of a heart, that only songs or a poem for the night does really truly belong to the mystic and to the lovers. It belongs to those that want to be touched inside. It is your moon, it is your sun, it is your life. You claim that moon, you claim that sun, it's yours. For follow it and speak to it. And if no birds, if no lovers come your way, if no friends come your way, and you find your heart, you find that you have blossomed and it's wide open, so be it. Don't give up hope. Just keep up. The sun will tell you another day will come. Another life will come. Another full moon will come. Don't give up. You never see flowers speaking, trying to convince a bee to come to me, come to me. Just be. You don't have to be clever. You don't need to be smart. For you already have your heart. Just nourish it and water it. No great secrets. I have never seen a flower be jealous of another flower. Not once. I have never seen a flower fight with another flower. Not once in my life. But I have seen all flowers hold their smile, hold their contentment. They don't die when the bee or the honeybee goes to their neighbor. And yet, whether you have 10 bees on the edge of your opened heart, touching you and stroking you and kissing you, not one bee can be you, the flower, not one. And really the most beautiful thing of all, that of all humanity, of all species, of everything in this life, is that everything basically stands alone. It's a reality. It's a very simple reality. No one can eat for you. No one can dream for you but you. No one can even speak for you but yourself. No one can be born for you but you. No one can die for you but you. No one can see what you see through your eyes but you. No one can be the flower that you are but you. But to realize this, you'll find the bubbles that you have wrapped yourselves in. You'll find the walls that you have encapsulated yourself in starting to break. What are you going to do with all that space? What are you going to do with all that spaciousness? What are you going to do with all that openness? And the most beautiful thing of all is that each person is a very different and unique flower unto yourself. Some people are alike, and some flowers are alike, but it's still, they're not the same. I love all the colors and all the shapes. And do not forget, most human beings do not have the eye to see the flowers of the people's heart. All they do is see faces. But if they could see what your flower looks like, your heart, how they cannot help but fall in love with you. People need time, lots of time, and a lot of breaks. Be softer with your thoughts, kinder with your thoughts. And bake, go sunbathe, and let yourself be baked by the moonlight at night. You will not turn into a werewolf, only sometimes. It'll help you to listen more to the quietness of your mind, what lies underneath. Because no matter what you think of yourself, or no matter what images you have of yourself, whatever created you, your heart is like this. The only difference is it has an uncaused light that is its water. An uncaused light that is its sunlight. And no tree can shade you, no building can shade you, no fear can shade you from that. Remember that. But uncaused light is very much like moonlight. It will not burn you, but how intense and how subtle and yet how loving it is. Be wise with your life. Do not expect anybody to understand you at all, but you learn to understand everybody. Be wise with your life. Do not expect people to help you at all, but you try to help others when you can. Be wise with your life. Do not expect people to pay attention to you, but you learn to pay attention to them. Do not expect people to be considerate or thoughtful of you, but you try to be considerate and thoughtful of them. And you'll find yourself eventually in time, for it takes time, that the chemist, the real chemist, the mystic chemist, with a little major ingredient of moonlight and wisdom of not expecting, a little patience, and hope that your heart really is a flower. It just closed. For the mystic chemist knows that this takes very few ingredients. A little care, a little quietness, sometimes tears, sometimes disappointment, sometimes running into a wall, sometimes just being lost. These are all the chemicals that it really takes to prod that flower to open up. Be wise with your life. And know that your heart is as delicate as these flowers. It's not a stone building. It's not a home made of glass. It's as delicate as these flowers. It's not a machine. It's not a number. It's not a thing. It's something very alive and very beautiful, no matter what you think of yourself. Peace to your minds. Peace to your hearts. Peace to your life. Peace. Everybody. Peace to your minds. Peace to your hearts. Peace to your life. Peace. Open up your eyes. A break. here we go. A little trouble getting the belt. All right. This is the new me. What is this? This is really going to be a spiritual experience. Finally, you're going to get one. We talked a little bit about energy. And the one thing that I find that people don't pay much attention to, very little attention, is the energy of our feelings, of our subtle bodies, our energy that we get not only from food, but from thought. And not just from thought, but from feeling. And not just from feeling, but passion. And not just from passion, but anger. And not just anger, but hatred. And not just hatred, but love. And not just love, but likeness. And not just likeness, but kindness. And not just kindness, but just going for a walk. We get energy from all sorts of ways and means. When someone gives us a call, and it's a very friendly call, it helps to promote more. When someone is tearing us down with anger or hatred, we can become very weak. And we all have watched ourselves rise in and out and up and down with all these various moods. It has an effect on us. And we have watched how we can go to work and an hour or two later there's no energy. Well, either maybe it's hypoglycemia, maybe your blood sugar went down way too low, maybe you didn't eat and whatever. But if you eat well and you take care of yourself well with these kinds of natural nourishments, but yet somehow you lost your energy. A lot of people are constantly leaking right and left. We have our, look at our nervous system. Pay attention to that nervous system. There was a show here about our bodies, and these doctors, they completely dissected the bodies to show what's it like on the inside. What's it like just to see your nervous system? What's it like just to see your blood vessels? And what's it like to see the brain matter? And so in essence, it is a vast, you could say, highway. It's a vast autobahn. It's a vast freeway inside us. There's a tremendous amount of roads, just tens and thousands of miles, you could say, we're traveling through, in and out and everywhere. And there's all kinds of manufacturing plant to manufacture energy, too. And yet there's all kinds of manufacturing plants that produce certain chemicals that, let's say, deplete us, can literally deplete us of our energies too. And we try to do it through acts of thinking positive and being good or being bad or getting a good job and finding happiness and doing that. And yet it's a very fine line, all of this, and what to do with this. And how to handle it. But to keep it quite simply, our energies, they're so vast, and there's so many to pay attention to. And we need not just to drink water, but we need sunshine. We need sunshine, people. We know what happens when there's too much darkness. Such as, what is depression? It's a darkness and it's a heaviness. Somehow the light is going out. The fire, the little fire, campfires in those eyes are kind of going out inside. Yeah. And we know what happens when we go into a big rage and anger, and it's a forest fire inside, and mass destruction, and what happens afterwards? All the farm fields are burned. Yeah. A lot of the energy is quite not there anymore. And all these various tubes, it indicates that we have many, many ways that we, let's say, lose our energies. Many. And like for some, it has a lot to do with food and having good food and nourishments. And for some of these, it has to do with feelings and thoughts. And for some of these, like with friendships and, and getting, having touch, companionship, and it could be work, whatever it is. But we have a lot more than this. A lot more than this. But we get up in the morning and we go to. Okay. It sounded nice. It was. Yep. No. And we get up and we do the day, and we don't think about this because we have gotten used to getting up every day. And we just do it. And we've gotten used to going up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. We've gotten used to it, so we don't think much about it. We meet people, and some people are good, and some people are wonderful, and some people, And these energies, they come and go, but we don't think about it. Every drop counts, people. Every drop counts. Every thought counts. Every day counts. Every situation counts. Every mood counts. Every minute counts. Every hour counts. Every full moon counts. Every word you say counts. Yeah. And we start to pay attention to this and really look at it. Yeah. Then all of a sudden I look over there and I see a face I don't like. Energy starts to go out. I look over there and I feel a little bitter towards that person. Energy starts to go out. But I'm not going to think much about it because it was only just a little bit. Just a little bit. Is it really? Is it really? My stomach is full. I feel okay. I still feel strong. Every drop counts. Yeah. All of a sudden I have these, God, I just don't like that person at all. No way. Just, yeah. And it kind of goes in something like this. Yeah. And so we're just not throwing knives or spears or bullets, but it's throwing this out. Yeah. And somehow it's almost in a form of suicide, actually. Because when we start to have, let's say, inappropriate thinking, inappropriate feelings towards the external world, describing this, and like the child says, I don't like you. I don't like what's going on. Look what I'm going to do. Watch. I'll drain myself. I'm going to shut off the light inside. This is what I'm going to do. This is what we do inside. But we get away with it, don't we? Because we still have other energies here. It's all right. It's okay. It's all right. It's okay. So I got more here. And the problem with youth, from the minute we're born to the age of 33, you have the universe backing you up with youth. And somewhere around that, it stops. Then you have the momentum for about the next 10 years until you begin to feel in your 40s the momentum has finally reached home. There's no more wind backing you up. You can't refill these so easily. It is youth that fills this very quickly. Youth does this. Sports, having a good time, running, walking, laughing, enjoying what you're doing refills these. But once you pass around the age of 40, you begin to realize, oh boy, I better be a little careful here, but where's my leak? Where is my leak? Where is it that I'm doing? Where is it that it's being released here? That's when it becomes difficult to find it, to sense that. Every thought counts in what we do and how we use this. Suicide is really, it's an act that starts years and years and years. It starts very deep, subtly inside, with a little thought, a little feeling, a little thought. And a person can easily open up the channels. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. I'll make you pay eventually. And all human beings have this inside. To make people pay. We call it revenge. Call it getting back. And just let it slowly leak out. And then by the time we're out of the child, because this is actually emanating from child feeling, child thoughts, childish philosophy. But by the time you reach the teenage years, the 20s and the 30s, you don't know which one you started to open up. You don't know which one you opened up. And it stays open. Constant drain, year after year, year after year, year after year. You can't close it. You forgot. The promise continues. You're going to pay. It stays open. To find these leaks, to find these old promises, these get-backs, this jealousy, whatever it is that started so long ago, unresolved conflict, call it. Yeah. You'll find it if you care, but it will hurt like hell to see it. To find these, it's not going to feel comfortable within yourself. It's not designed to make you feel comfortable. Because who did it? You did it. You did it. To unlock ourselves, to stop all the leaks. A lot of people, they resort to prayer or some form of sacrifice, or find someone with a blessing enough to stop it. And sometimes it can, and for an awful lot it cannot. It's something that the individual basically has to do themselves inside. And for the most part, it comes down to good old, simple forgiveness of ignorance, of the little one inside. You are who you are, not because of the last year, people. You are who you are since the time you were born. Most human beings, they may be 45, but their mentality is still very young. Most human beings may be 65, but their mentality is still very, very young and immature. It is maturity that starts to plug the leaks. And it hurts to grow up in this world. It is not easy in this world at all. But the very simple things that can get the person deep down inside to know spontaneously just to what to reach down and to start to close up all these leaks. Because one starts to care for oneself and one starts to care for the other people. It is simply to care. And when a human being cares more for the others than yourself, it will speed up the process even more. Because basically, it is much easier to have someone else, and it feels much better to have someone else scratch your back than to you to try to scratch your back. It is much easier to understand somebody else than it really is yourself. It's much easier to criticize and tear down another person than it is yourself. And what's created so many leaks that constantly drains us of our good feelings, our good feelings. Our feelings should not go up and down all day, and why do they do this? Is it Swiss chocolate? Is it that cappuccino? Was it that phone call? Steady, steady, steady. Much more than that. For one, and it's always been laid down in the books quite simply, but most misinterpret it. Find something to love. And nourish it and water it. Find something to love and keep it steady every day. It's like holding an altar and be steady with it. You don't have to like other people. It's difficult to like anybody. But don't let go of the hope of what's inside or what's really their heart. Don't let go of that. Find something to love and nourish it. And if it's not another person that you can find a rock. And if it's not a rock, find a home. If it's not a home, find a flower. And if it can't be a flower, make it a dog. If it's not a dog, make it a cat. Just find something and nourish it. You have learned in the fire dance how someone can dance for so long and sustain themselves for so long. And there is a limit to everything. But But once you find out where these major plugs, these major leaks are, and what we have done with our own selves, that it was you who did it, not your mother, not your father, not your neighbor, not the Russians, not the French. It was you that did it. You search down deep into your file cabinet where life gave you a contract to have a washing machine, to have a car, to have a pair of glasses to see if you're blind. Where in your contract is it that you're going to have pants, a blouse, a comb? Where is it in your contract that you're going to have a friend, or people are going to like you? Where in your contract that you're going to have heat in your home? Where is that contract? Your parents, the only responsibility they really, really have above is just to feed you and clothe you, and that's all. That's the only responsibility parents really have above, is to feed you and clothe you. Education, you're fortunate. Good food, you're fortunate. And once you see how fortunate you really, really are, very, very fortunate, no matter how bad your parents are, you will thank them for clothing you and feeding you. For that's what really matters. And if they teach you about love, you're very fortunate. If they teach you how to run a business, you're very fortunate. And if you find a contract to have all these things, you're very fortunate. And I would love to meet your God. Plug these leaks. Check your contract. Come to terms with the reality. If you lost respect for your parents, you go get that back. That's the most important thing for you. You don't have to love your parents. You don't have to like your parents, but respect them. If you cannot respect your parents, you cannot respect yourself. It's impossible. Just respect them. The other major key is forgiveness, if you can. And if you cannot, you cannot. It's okay. But you come to terms with it. You're honest with it. It's okay that you cannot forgive. Then wait the next year and try it again. If you cannot do it, then wait the next year and do it again. But don't give up hope with yourself. That's the important thing. And find something to love. And nourish it, people. Nourish it quietly, secretly. Let no one know. You do that for yourself inside. Because when you nourish something outside, you're pulling your heart out of here and putting it into the external environment. You're pulling yourself out to come into this planet, to come into this world, to put your feet on the planet and not leave it in your head and not leave it in your dreams. That's why find something to love and nourish it quietly. If your mind is ill, know it. If your mind is healthy, know it. Being ashamed and being guilt will not help you. Just come to terms with it. The fire dance tomorrow at 10. What time do we meet tomorrow? Heidi, what time are we set up to meet tomorrow? Lunchtime, huh? Yeah? When does lunch end? Huh? 2 o'clock? Oh. No? No. What time? 1:30. Okay. Yeah. Then we'll start at 1. Huh?
With the preparation.
Yeah. Yeah. So we can start at 12 then. Huh?
Yeah.
We'll start at 12.
Yeah.
That's much better.
Yeah, until we dance, it's 2 a.m.
Yeah. Okay, we'll start at 12. People, a human being has the power to open up these valves of another human being. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Do you know how to close one? When you see one is open and the other person does not know it, and they're leaking, you can just see they're being drained. How would you close it? Or close 2 or 3? Or how can you close this for another human being? Huh? Kindness. 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 Genuine kindness, people. Genuine kindness. To put hope, that gives the person back the hope. When the hope goes away, the valves start to open. Gonna say good night, and yeah. Thank you, Kathy, for coming. How many would you like? 15 volunteers. All right, can we have 15 volunteers to go help with the sweat lodge? Can I have a show of hands? 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Oh, you see how the guilt came up, you know?
We will need about 6 volunteers, men, tomorrow at the carpet at 10 o'clock here.
Okay, at 10 o'clock outside, you need 6 men.
Yes.
Boy, that's, okay. All right, can I have 6 men? I need 6 men. Good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, you have 6 men. Yeah. Oh, the stories.
Just after, half an hour later, come as well.
Bettina is putting together people's stories. Stories about what has happened with you with all this. Little stories, you know. What has happened in how you came to that very unfaithful day, bad karma day when you met me. Okay. And stories about that. Okay, if you could write story, you know, write it down. Some of you have stories, you know, and some nothing happened. Can you send them to Bettina? You know, it's just good to get the stories. Because there are a lot of good stories out there. A lot of really interesting stories, very interesting stories, and it's just nice to hear stories. You know, good stories are nice. So she's putting together the stories. Yeah. Don't make up stories. Just real stories. Real stories. Okay. Okay. Anything else?
People want to have another movie tonight.
How many would like to see a movie tonight? Oh, forget it. No, they don't want to see a movie. No, yeah. Any questions before we break? Anything? About your mother? I'm an expert with mothers. Earthquakes? Yeah. Has to do with the thoughts of people? God, I hope not. Our planet would have vibrated itself into pieces billions of years ago. So be thankful, no. Jesus. You know, I basically would say that that ants and worms have more effect on earthquakes than human beings can ever imagine. Yeah. because they perforate the earth, and they keep it moving. No, human beings have no effect on the earth whatsoever. It's just that we can pollute it. That's the only thing we can do is pollute it. All right. And we do a pretty good job of that. But no earthquakes. It's just a natural phenomenon that happens. Okay? And what about UFOs? UFOs. Some of you have a questions with UFOs? Yeah, you've learned, huh? Yeah, you're quick learners. Anything else? Come on. Yes. How can we learn from our better half? A person that is better, who is like your twin and a better half than you, or the better half, or you mean the parts of you that are more clear and more sincere with yourself? That better half, yeah. Is this your better half? I don't know. The only thing that you can do, now that I understand your question, is to go and watch them. Watch how much better they are than you. Much more intelligent, kinder, nicer, more sophisticated. They're happier. They're clearer. Watch and learn, and watch what it does to you, the effects that it does to you, and clean it up and absorb and learn. Let them teach you what's it like to be better than you. That's it.
Is it women for women, or is it the opposite?
I would say women for women and very much men for men. Yeah. Unless you're in the category, where you're gay, and if you're gay, then I imagine the crossover can take place. Yeah. Because it's the same for both. Yeah. Yes.
Can you say something about the state of what's described in the Bible of Jesus after he died and resurrected?
The ascension, what they call the ascension. If anything really when it comes to Jesus, all I can say is that I'm extremely, extremely ignorant, and I'm just totally ignorant about all that stuff. From a personal point of view, I find it ludicrous and very ridiculous thinking that I can know this person, what they call Jesus. It's obvious to me, and it's recorded that this person did exist, and this person was a good person. And from what I know of history, he was just a very simple person. And it looks like a lot of people build him up, made him more and more, for the sake of the church or whatever. But basically, it showed that he was just a very simple person that understood a lot of things that were of the heart. He was a very heartful person. Yeah. A very young person, too. He was caught in a predicament. But for me to say that to know this man, there's no way I can say I know anything about the ascension, whatever. To me, they're just a story. Yeah. And we can do anything we want with the story, believe anything we want with the story. But I don't know. I have no pictures. I have no facts. There's no movies. And people can say anything. But that I know. I know nothing. Nothing. I know very little about my grandparents. I heard a lot, but But I know that there are good men and good women throughout all of history too.
Just was asked if it's possible any time to see a German film, because we always have to hear a
We do have German. Yeah. Yeah, actually we try to put it all in German, not English. It should be, no? It hasn't been like.
Because most of the people speak English fluently, so they want to go for the original.
Oh, right. They want to go for the original and not have it crossed over. Oh, German films, whereas German-speaking German films. That would be good. I like it. They make good movies. Yeah. Yes.
Is there anything you could say? I wonder about, because I'm also quite new here, how it is for you when people come to you. Is there a difference for you if they come to you and talk and want to know something, like ask you questions very personally? Do you say, like, wait, let's look?
It all depends on the question and the situation and what they're asking and where they're coming from. Because the most important thing is how people approach me. If people have an agenda, if there's no agenda there, if there's no ulterior motive, and there's something of it's sincere, that the foundation and the base is sincere, I'll answer just like I would anybody else. And actually, for more new people, I give them more information than I do old people. Because they're innocent with it. Yeah. With people lying, it's a very difficult thing to stop. People lying. It's when somebody lies. I mean, to try and turn it around, you're basically wasting your breath. Usually it's the self-experiences within themselves that reveals it, that they're lying, that really shows them the most, or unless they really fall into a conflict where they are, where there's a loss. Usually a person has to feel a loss to stop the lying. Otherwise, because lying is profit, nothing but profit. They gain something from it. It constantly whitewashes everything. So it's not an easy thing. But if you can find a good story or something of reference where someone had lied and then a good came out of the story, they'll listen to it because it's not being directed at them, it's someplace else. It's on another stage. So if you can produce a stage where what happens when one lies, but what is the benefit if one stops lying? Then it gives them an option in. Because liars, they easily repel and defend. Easily. They just, they're so good at it, they're masters. You could call them the master, But if you give them something that is not directly coming from a human being, but it's off stage, they can easily receive it, take it home, and chew on it. You gave them a bone. These people you need to give bones to. Lots of bones. Let them chew and chew and chew and chew and chew and chew. Bones. Give them bones. Give them time. Just give it time. Lies, don't pay much attention to them. Just don't take it personally. That's the main thing. Don't take it personally. But sometimes it creates a lot of harm, and it's too bad. But, again, Taliban goes way back. Goes way, way back. Yes. Good help, wrong help, or if you don't have the discretion when to help, and you know that there is pity, sympathy in the wrong way, you're trying to show off, you're trying to be good, don't move. Don't move. Don't go help. But if you find yourself helping, okay, but try, don't move. And pay attention to when you have the impetus, when you have the feeling to go and do something, and try and catch what that feeling is, what its source is. Where is it coming from? Where is it really coming from? And in time, you can start to define it. It will start to show its face more. But if you have the discretion, good, no problem. Yeah. And usually to help someone is something that always will come around the corner when you least expect it. And that will tell you if you have good discretion or not, either to act or not to act. But if you know that you got all these stories inside, and you want to show how wonderful you are, don't act. But if you act, watch what the impulse was, so you can catch it and clean it up, clean up the mess inside. Yeah. Yes.
I chew on the bone of the carpet cord. We have this in the movie. When human being is going to cut off from nature.
Yes.
So we are here in the civilization much cut off by our nature. How can we repair it? Can we replace something instead of nature? That we feel in a circle of
It's difficult to repair it. We cannot walk backwards. The past, it's gone, it's over with. And then that means that the human being has got to deal with the situation for what it is. But the children have more of a chance now. If you can see it, you can help the children to hold on to it and not cut it. That you can do. But for the adults, it's pretty well, it's over, it's cut. But you can become, use your intellect, use your skills, use your profession, use your whatever to be good terms with it and help people with it. But yours is basically cut. It's cut. You can't go back. You're 40, you're 50, you're 30. It's over. But you can go skiing on it, so to speak, and still have fun. But it's not there. It's over. But the young ones, they can keep it. For instance, here's the same example. The young ones today who are in their teens, they don't have the neuroses that we do who are in our 50s and 60s about World War II, about Europe, about the guilt, about the Germans, about the English. You Europeans grew up with all this, and you're more restricted, you're more tight, you're more, because of the conflicts that just happened just 60 years ago. But because the young ones, there was no war, there was none of that stuff, but they received a little bit of the guilt and everything from their parents, but they missed it. You could say they're pretty well, their bond is not cut, and now they're really, they think European. They don't think a lot of them don't think as German or Swiss or whatever. They cross these borders and visit all the other kids and the other young ones all over Europe. It's Europe. It's Europe. It's not just my country anymore. I'm European. I'm not just German anymore. So you see, it's kind of like that, and it takes generations to do it. It literally takes generations to clean all this up. And if you are the recipient of a world war, you can't do anything about that. You are the recipient of the world war. You're first-hand knowledge, so to speak. And you're going to suffer. The second generation, suffer less. Third generation, suffer much less. That's reality. And if that's your reality, and if you're first generation after the war or second generation after the war, do it well. Come to terms with it. And make sure that the next generation has a better life. Not so tight, not so restricted like you are. Stops the leaks. Okay. Good night. For the, am I on? Yeah. My microphone is down. This is for the coordinators. In the spring 2002, Munich cannot be the first workshop because the space is occupied already. So we got to figure something else out, either to put it in place of England or switch Freiburg. But we'll talk about it afterwards. So let you know. There was a question about someone, when I made the comment yesterday that, what was it? I don't care about your happiness. Something like that, huh? Huh? Oh, I don't care if you're happy. Yeah. And what does that mean? It means that happiness is so relative. You got to look at it this way. Happiness is so relative. I know people that become so happy when they finally hurt someone because they deserve it. They're so happy. Huh? You know, it's like, this is my day. My day, you know, has been... I know people so happy when they cheat people. You know? They're really happy about it. They're very happy about it. I know people who are happy when they help someone. I know people who are happy and then all of a sudden an illness takes it away. Happiness is relative. It is so relative, people. It is so relative, happiness. And people, too many people, they really misinterpret the ultimate. The ultimate is happiness. Happiness is kind of like the weather. It's hard to trust. And you never know how long it's going to snow, or when the rain is going to stop, or when the rain is going to come. That's how happiness is. And it's so relative because it depends on your mentality. I'm getting too much of an echo. It depends too much on your mentality. It depends on how clear your mind is and what your objective is behind the happiness. There is an objectiveness behind all happiness, people. To gain something, to profit from something, to do wonderful things with people. And happiness is, you know, and it's you can't trust it. It's like the weather. And you know, I mean, you know what I mean with this? Right? And happiness is something, you know, sometimes we can share it, and it's wonderful. It's really wonderful when we can share it. But it's a very personal situation. It's very personal to your own self, and it's so relative. What I am concerned about, and what I really care about, is your well-being. Is your well-being. That your awareness is stronger, clearer, and that you get consciousness. Because in this world, things happen. Things that are not so nice and things that are wonderful, in and out. And it's how we need something that can sustain us through the hard times, through the wonderful times. And it's good, strong, healthy awareness and hope that awareness mutates into consciousness. That's what I'm concerned about. That's where I really care, that I can mutate your awareness into consciousness. Then you got something that time cannot take away. Passing away can't take it away. Dreams can't take it away. The weather is not like the weather. Consciousness, you got it, you got it. It's done. Then the storms can come. They won't affect you. Heartache can come and you'll still hurt. You can still cry, but you're fine. No more going down to the depths of the bottom of the ocean and then all of a sudden heading up to the tops of the clouds. Manic depressiveness, bipolar, Steady, steady, steady. Yeah. Yeah. So you see where I'm coming from with happiness. Yeah. Yeah. Always search for what is everlasting. Be wise. Always search and pull in. Always search, attract. Always search, contemplate. Always search, seek. Always search, desire what is everlasting. Happiness is temporary. So temporary, people. Have you ever tried to be so happy and then go to sleep? What happens? You can go to sleep happy, but you can wake up with a nightmare. Huh? The consciousness, no more nightmares. Steady. That's the difference. Happiness, it resides in the realm of temporariness. Happiness was actually created in Las Vegas, Nevada. Roll that dice. Hey, you're going to be happy for the next 2 minutes. All right, good for you. Just what you've always wanted. Roll that dice again. Oops, sorry about that. You don't get it? No? Yeah. Seek what last, that has the blood of foreverness in it. Our names cannot last forever. My name will disappear like everybody else's. My body, just like everybody else's. But inside. And when we start to connect with this inside, then our thoughts follow. Like the mind does follow the breath, and in time the thoughts start to follow, your feelings start to follow, you start to pick up the elements of everlasting, something that lasts forever and not just at the moment and not just for today. Because if you really think of your future, people, especially if you're young, and I wish I would have had the education, what it is to be a better father. It would have been so much better. But because my father was always too busy with the day, consumed with the day, I was consumed with the day, my brothers, my sisters, my mother, everybody consumed with the day. It's so much, so overwhelming, as it is for most people. And it's your future. That to be a better parent than your parents were. Be a much better parent than your parents could ever even dream of. That means to be more steady, more kind, more considerate. And be careful, young ones. Never hate. Never hate, because what you hate, you eventually become. In this dimension, in this world, hate and love, they're opposite poles. And because they're so powerful here in this world, that when you put your eyes into it, it's like when you like someone, and when you really love someone, like your boyfriend or your girlfriend, and you really look, what happens? What happens? You find yourself, in sync with synchronicity, meeting them, and you call, and just things happen. Same thing with hate. The same thing will happen. You eventually become like your mother, like your father, like your uncle, like your enemy, because it's the polarity that pulls you in without even knowing it. So be smart. Never hate. It's not worth it. You don't have to like it at all. You don't have to like people. Just don't hate them. But try to understand them. Try. And then you start to, as you grow older, you start to become more of yourself. Because you are, in essence, are really not your mother and not your father. You're an individual, completely separate than your mother and your father. But always respect. No matter how terrible or how loving your parents are, always respect them regardless. And you'll find yourself much, much better in your future life. Years into your life. I received a book from Gata. This is, and this is really a wonderful book. It was these people in Japan. I didn't quite read it all, but they were interested in water. And biochemist, but just water. What's in water? And water is, it crystallizes. It can freeze and turn to snow and steam, and water is the life-giving force. And under using high technology, very powerful microscopes, and unique photography, they took pictures of the various aspects of water under different conditions. When somebody was praying, and what would happen with the water, how it would crystallize, versus when there was negative forces, negative thoughts, negative thinking, or when there's pollution, what happens to the crystalline water? There's, the water stops crystallizing and just becomes dead. But when water becomes alive, you begin to see that it forms different crystals, different shapes, especially when there's prayers. Especially when there's prayers involved. Wow. And there was this one picture in Russia where these people live a very long time, and they drink this particular goat's milk and from this water, and they took pictures of it, and it's very unique. It's different, but because the composition of the crystal and how it's designed, more like a hexagon, and et cetera, but it's unique. And there was this one that was really something. It was it's the god of, I think it's a female god of Japan, but I can't pronounce the name, where a lot of Japanese pray to this. It's a feminine god. And beautiful. I mean, the crystal that are produced, ooh, wow. Malevolent, beautiful. Malevolent, beautiful. Benevolent. I mean, do you recall talking about those two little water balls, 99.99% water. Little campfires. Pollute the eyes. Or let the eyes be crystals, be reflected light like diamonds. Remember the diamonds we all had when we were young in our eyes? And sometimes the eyes go dark when too much wrong happens to us. We get too disappointed. Well, as it is for the crystals in the eyes too. I know the character changes. Do you realize how much our body is water? We can pollute the waters inside. Or change each molecule into a beautiful crystal. Like the flowers. And it's funny, it was just the good thoughts. And they say, they did experiments with just words that were negative, that had very strong negativity. And they put this underneath the glass of water and left it and they took time photography to see what the water would do in time. And you could see there's a change, a drastic change. It's like it's alive, like it vibrates to thought, and it does. Water does. People do. People do. And they tried to experiment with all kinds of words, and it was so beautiful. It's just nothing but proof for the mind. Just proof for the mind. Each thought counts. Each act counts. You got a whole day to think. You got a whole day to act. That's why start slowly, slowly. You got plenty of days. Just slowly, Don't hurry, people. Slowly. The bones took a while to grow. Give it time, and you're stronger in time. Slowly. And as it is, one big bucket of water, each of us, we are. A big bag of water. What's better, a bag of water or elongated worm with bones in it? What's better? I can't tell the difference. Okay, I'll make you feel better. I got to get holy for this one. A raindrop. I'm a raindrop falling from the. I'm a tender, fluffy snowflake. That landed on a street, got run over by a car. Life is not fair. Could I have some water, please? Yeah. I have it. I'll bring it. I will. It's in my room. I will send somebody to get it. It's Gata. Thank you. This. Yeah. 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 They're in these pictures are in the internet. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I'll bring the book and put it up here. It's something to get and to read. It's evidence, people. It is beautiful scientific evidence. Hey, we're Westerners. We need evidence. We need evidence. We're Westerners. If we were in the third world, I would treat it the opposite. Because those are the conditions of our upbringing, our environment. But if we're Westerners, and if you consider how we were taught, we need evidence. This is good for the mind. That's why I seek proof, seek proof. And after a while, you can relax and then start to really trust that there's really something else going on other than what people know and understand. That's the only reason I do what I do. I needed so much evidence to know before I gave myself up. I needed to know who am I going to work for? Before I signed my name on the contract, I wanted to know who. And it took a lot of evidence before I saw. That's just how we are. Thank you. Raka? Pass that to Raka, please. This is good. I wish I could speak German, but this is a translation from Rudolf Steiner. The most sacred element of the future will take place in the quality of relationships between people. The most sacred element of the future will take place in the quality of relationships between people. It's a secret. Really, it's really, there's really nothing but relationships, actually. There's nothing else but relationships. Yeah, since we are already created, it just seeing the beauty of us. We are separate, and everyone is. So the objective is the same. Get us to be more comfortable with ourselves. What, yeah. It's getting boring. is so genius. I love that. Yes.
I'm still not sure what respect is.
You're not sure what respect is. Mm. Respect. Respect is it's a very difficult thing for most people to have good, clear pictures, because respect is something that is so deep. It is so within that by the time someone expresses it externally, it's letting the elderly take your seat, you know, like in a bus, in a train, or opening up the car door, sending a message to say thank you, being respectful and not hurting someone under certain, under conditions. And it seems to take place on an external factor, and that's where a lot of people learn it. But there is, when the respect is learned, there is a presence that goes with it. You can always see when someone respects someone, there's a presence in there, you know? When the respect is genuine, there's someone there, really knowing this, you could feel. And that's what makes it so honorable when you see it happening. Respect is that's only the outer surface of it. It's kind of like respect is something like the top of an ocean, and you see the waves, but it's the result of what takes place underneath that creates the conditions on top. But what takes place underneath it's kind of like your mother and your father. Because in the greater reality, it is underneath the ocean that supports the top of the ocean, that gives you the surface. It is your heart that really gives you your life. You could say, and it's your brain that gives you this intelligence. And when respect is known and felt deep down inside, that it is like a drumbeat that just constantly radiates out. I heard that when we do the fire dance in here, or in almost any hotel, whatever, that when people are eating in the restaurant over there, the glasses, you know, and that's kind of like what respect does. When it's so strong inside, it creates a drumbeat of an octave of like a D that is so. And it just goes out, constantly going out, radiating out. And you can see that in countries that have respect. Because the respect can be towards old ladies or towards religion or whatever. Some, they respect the elderly, but they don't respect the kids. Some, they respect the kids and the elderly, and some, they don't respect the parents anymore, but they respect their peers. And so, however each generation beats this heart, beats this bottom of the ocean, and how they educate it is going to vibrate out. So in essence, you can construct any given society, you can construct any given nation to beat a different drum beat. That when it vibrates, it starts to manifest on top of the surface of the ocean different waves, to open up a car door, to take your seat, to external respect, to writing good books, to being a good teacher, to being a bad teacher, however you want to beat the drum beat. Like the Taliban, they have a different drum beat with it. But it has depth in it. It has great depth. And being that that's a greater reality, it's the depth is a greater reality. Because of that's where we get our source, our essence. That when you lose this respect and the drum beat is in disharmony, this drum beat, that because it radiates so quietly, but it's, you know, when I sleep in this, in Torsten's house, it's right down the street. And 3 or 4 in the morning, there's hardly any traffic, but sometimes there's a truck that comes by. And I can hear it rumbling almost a good mile away because it's creating these low drum beats, these low, and you can just feel it running through the house. And this is the element of respect. This is where it comes from. It has that same power. And because of that, that means that the reality is that this came from your grandparents, their grandparents, their grandparents, their grandparents, and on. And so this drum beat continues from generation to generation to generation to generation. And what is giving you your life are these drum beats that, you know, from one generation to the next. Your grandparents has helped to give you your life. Their grandparents have helped to give you their life. And whatever their respect is, what direction they were headed to, each generation started to beat a different drum beat, a different beat. But yet it continued. It goes on and on and on and on. And when that child starts to lose their respect, they go against the drum beat. They go counter. And pretty soon the drum beat, because your back is your support. Your spine is your support. We don't pay attention to this. And if you go with it, you know, it's good to fight your parents when it's necessary. It's good to fight your parents when they're wrong. And it's sometimes if you're young, it's just good to fight your parents because you got to find your boundaries. But when it becomes with disharmony, the drum beat goes against the drum beats that's in your blood, that's in your backbone, that's in your parents, and pretty soon you get off whack, and it pulls you out of synchronicity, out of your own synchronicity, because the drum beat's off. The bottom of the ocean is creating waves, so you got waves battling other waves on top of the ocean. So it's self-defeating. So the source of respect has great depth. That's where it comes from, and it's of the past. It's history, and that's what helps to give you your present, and that's what helps to create your future. What kind of a future do you want? One with harmony or disharmony with the beat. And it's funny, like when a person has a heart murmur, when a person gets anxiety, what happens to the drum beat of your heart? It starts to go off, doesn't it? It goes off sync. It goes off, and you go panic. The mind goes panic because it's not boom 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 boom. And what's hearing this all the time? Your inner mind. The bottom of the ocean is hearing all the time. Ever since you were conceived, or when your heart developed, bum 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 bum, and then all of a sudden, a little anxiety. Bum, 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 bum. That's the same thing as having disrespect. It's the same thing. You're going bum 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 bum. You're throwing your own beat off. It's not worth it. You see? I mean, it's not my job to tell you what to be respectful, but the element of respect, it goes in 380 degrees, full circle. You know, you can take it anywhere or channel it to a specific behavior or a specific social aspect of what life is. You know, or just channel it to, to old men. You know.
about violence and defending.
About what?
Violence?
Violence.
Violence, yeah.
Yeah.
And because yesterday you say in the moment where somebody attacks you, you would defend yourself or the people around.
Okay. All right. That was something else. You don't want me as an enemy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Now, what is this? What do I mean by an enemy?
Yes, that's
What
what I mean. Because,
what I mean by an enemy
yeah.
is that if another nation starts to attack my nation,
Okay.
my home ground, that's what I mean by enemy. Or someone breaks into my house. I don't mean to kill, but I will to defend. I will act immediately. Or someone is jumping on another person, and it's not fair. You know, if it's fair, okay, but it's learn to act. That's what I mean.
Yes, my question is the measure.
The,
Measure?
the measure.
The measure,
Yeah.
in the moment where you understand even the thief or why he does do that and so on and so on, because whatever he had in his childhood and so on, yeah, that you understand this with the heart.
Yeah.
But the reaction is in that you defend in the moment where you feel attack. And the attack starts maybe in the moment of materialism,
Right.
when somebody, I don't know, destroys your door in the house or whatever. But it starts also earlier, huh?
Yes, it does.
The violence.
Yes, it is.
And in this moment, sometimes for me it's difficult to find the point where you act straight.
Yeah.
Is it just out of emotion? Because from your point of view, you feel attacked. And the other thing is, okay, you do the deep breath at first, and then maybe your defense or the way you defend is different. And sometimes I really don't know what's the right way to do, you know? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, to defend yourself. You know, if someone breaks into your home and you can see that they are not violent, you don't have to be violent at all. Invite them for supper, or give them a beer and say, what do you want? You know, because they're not violent. You know, they just may want something, and you don't have to get angry at them. But if they're not, but if they're violent, that's the difference. Hey.
Also, with the swords, you can be violent. I mean, even he doesn't attack you with a knife or something like that. Even when you are together with people and speaking in a small round or whatever, you said also we can be very tricky to hurt each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when these things happen, and you also understand that he does it or you do it because of your story. Yeah. And even you feel this.
I think I know what you're asking. When a person goes into the police force, they get instructions how to handle different people, different moods. And so they get trained who to be careful with and who you can kind of relax with, but always to be on guard. And even many times, even though they have training, they still blow it. They can still kill someone because they're scared. And so that means it's not so easy. Even with training, it's not so easy. And the only thing I can say to that is that you have to learn, you have to re-educate yourself from day one all over again, to educate your mind, to be very sure, what are you holding? Consciously, what are you holding? Because what creates decisions that are not appropriate, or so you don't respond immediately, is that so many of us, we live in our heads. We live inside. Intellectually, you may know you're holding a glass, but you're not in your skin fully. You're not in your shoes fully. And it's a strange phenomenon. It's really a strange phenomenon, huh? Because we're too busy living. Too busy living, huh? There's too many stores, too many newspapers, too many TVs, too many people, too many things happening, too many colors, so too much to do, and I got to walk, and I got to eat, and I got to do this, and I got to do that. So it's a matter of time and space, and what our generation is. We have too many cars flying by, and too many places to go, and So when you think about this, we can adapt. Human beings we can adapt to 10 times the speed, 100 times the speed. Just give us time. We can adapt. We can even adapt to go live in an igloo in the snow. We may not like it, but we can adapt. Huh? We can adapt. All of a sudden, there's no more TV or handies or electricity. It won't be, well, we can adapt. Huh? So, if that is the case, so if that is the case, what are we going to do? We've heard these teachings enough. What are we going to do? What to do? Come on, you've heard these teachings enough. No, don't try. You are surviving. You don't have to try. You've been doing it. You're a success in this environment. You don't have to think about it. That means that because of this time factor, and because there's so much, that means, and if you can't make appropriate decisions spontaneously, quick, knowing what to do, it is because your foundation it's not settled, it's not strong enough. You don't know yes, no, yes, no, 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 yes, 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 no, no. And most of us is, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, let me think about it, So that means that very simply, that, okay, intellectually, I know I'm holding a glass of water, but I don't realize it fully. That's the problem. We have learned to intellectualize everything so well, and we're so proud of this. But the problem is, people don't realize hardly anything. So it is really the simple factor between intellectually understanding and realizing something, or realizing something fully. Being in your feet. Oh yeah, I know my name, but do you know who you are? See what I mean? So go back and what are you really holding? It's like starting school all over again, but do it right this time. I am holding a glass. I am putting down a glass of water. I am sitting here. I'm not over there. I'm not inside. I'm not in my past. I'm sitting down right here on this stage. My right foot's over my left foot. My left hand is on my leg here, and my right hand is on top here. And I'm bending over like this, looking at you. There's not much in my head. It's true. See, I know it. And I'm okay with it. Yeah. Yeah, I'm okay with it. Yeah. Huh? So re-educate yourself. Your left foot, right foot, just know it. Just people, I know it's so elementary, but the problem is you don't realize it. We're too busy living in thought to thought, jumping from thought to thought to thought. Huh? Be the ocean. Be the water. Huh? Look how much water your body is. Huh? Waves. Keep it real simple. Driving a car, that's about the best. I find that it's wonderful. Driving a car, it's wonderful. Or being a passenger in the subway. It's so, you can learn so much. Take advantage whenever you're traveling in any type of vehicle. Take advantage of it. Huh? One day, you will see and meet where the shadows that followed you throughout this whole life, whether the sun was up or the moon was up, or it was a street light reflecting your shadow. For one day, your shadow and you, they merge. And when we finally have to leave this planet, and the shadow and you are one, then you start to meet the sailor that you are. A planet that is traveling 486,000 miles an hour through space. We're travelers, never stopping, never still. Even our dreams and our hopes. How wonderful it is to travel from land to land, from book to book, from story to story. But it is the winds of your own mind and heart. It is the wind of your dreams that initially starts the exhale, that throws out the breath, that blows the sail into a certain direction, to a new land, a new life, a new friend, a new situation, a new time, and a new place. So when you drive a car or in a subway, you could say it's kind of like a free ride, but it's really your winds. It is your nose that is pointing the direction where you're headed to. And sometimes it's good to point the finger. I am headed into that direction. I know it. You're the master sailor of your own ship. Be proud of your ship. Be proud of your ship. Have respect for your ship and have respect for other people's ships. Now you will see in this world some people, they don't have ships. They don't even have boats. They have rafts, sometimes made of only 3 little small logs. Some people don't even have rafts. They have life preservers, barely hanging on to their life. Barely hanging on to their life. Some only have a log to hang on to, just one log. And so many are like that. And then there are those that are so many. They have beautiful boats. Very simple, one little rudder, so beautiful. And some boats are so old. And some boats are so new. Some have big ships, but few. Some are full of, you could say, guests, and some are empty. Let's dance, huh?